All right. Hello, everyone, and thank you for coming back. This is part three of the Overcoming Self-Sabotage Roundtable, and this is actually the solution. So we're very, very excited to be here sharing these solutions to overcoming the different forms of self-sabotage that we have talked about so far, which would really be like addictions, self-sabotage for males, self-sabotage with like your words, like verbal self-sabotage, trauma, like how much trauma really affects our self-sabotage, and really nutrition and how that affects our self-sabotage. So very glad to have everyone back. Well, I guess we're missing out on Holly, but we have Nathan, we have Bryce, we have Denise. So very glad to have them all back. We're just going to do our little introductions again, just in case you guys haven't seen the last ones. So my name is Tanner Dagenais. I'm a self-sabotage coach. I have a podcast and everything, but my main goal is to teach people why they self-sabotage and different solutions to self-sabotage so they can overcome self-sabotage in their life. Denise, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi everybody. Thanks for having me back. If you have not yet listened to the other episodes, definitely go back because we had some really great conversations. But my name is Denise Walsh. I'm a former clinical psychologist turned life and business coach, and I help people overcome their self-sabotage and retrain their subconscious brain to expect success. And then I also use my programs not only with entrepreneurs and business owners, but also with trauma survivors.
Awesome. Fantastic. And yep, she's totally correct. You guys definitely should check out part one and part two. We had some great discussions there. Bryce, you want to introduce yourself next?
Sure. Yeah. Thanks for having me back again. I'm Bryce Cluett from Canada, self-sabotage coach, working with men in my Man on Fire program, where I help men sort of reprogram the subconscious for success, to become a leader in all areas of their life, really focusing on removing distractions so that you can, solidify the new sort of habits and behaviors that you're trying to incorporate into your life. And excited to talk about some solutions today.
Oh, yeah. Awesome. And Nathan, last but not least.
I'm Nathan Francis. I'm from Australia, Victoria, a couple of hours north of Melbourne. I've recently just launched my Breaking Free program for teens and young adults. I feel that was my calling, was to work with the teens and young adults to reprogram their subconscious minds and help them understand and learn about the part of the brain that no one really talks about. So just like what these guys reiterated, all about reprogramming the subconscious mind and limiting distractions, because the teens and young adults are full of distractions, as we all know, with so many. So yeah, my job's got my hands full at the moment, but I'm really looking forward to getting stuck into it. So yeah, the Breaking Free program for teens and young adults. If you're watching, shoot me a message and let's roll.
Oh yeah, awesome. All right, well, let's get started. Denise, you want to take the lead?
Sure. So in my programs, I share that there's 3 reasons why we self-sabotage, and then 3 ways that we can overcome that. And so I won't go into the why. We did a lot of that at the last one, but I'll share self-image, our subconscious programming, and then stress. And so the 3 ways that we overcome self-sabotage is through habits. And so we talk a lot about this: repetition, creating new habits. We all know, right, that most of our programming was solidified in the first 7 years of life. And the good news is that you can rewrite it, meaning, you didn't learn to drive a car in your first 7 years of life, right? So it was repetition, creating that new habit that then made it so normal you don't even have to think anymore. And that's really what our subconscious does, is it makes life easier because we don't have to think so much. We get up, we go brush our teeth, you have all of these habits that make us who we are, and it essentially makes life easier. Well, that's great if your habits are taking you where you want to go. But if your habits are not, meaning you're having dessert, you're having excess coffee, you're drinking on the weekends, your Friday night is a binge weekend, and then you're not feeling good on Saturday, all of those are just habits. And so habit breaking, but then also recreating new habits is a piece of retraining their subconscious brain. The second one is hypnosis. And I give my clients a hypnosis that they can listen to every night before they go to bed. And hypnosis is a really cool thing. And a lot of people are scared of it because they think it's going to, we're going to make them cluck around like a chicken or something, but I think they just don't know what it is. Hypnosis happens to us all the time. It's like a state of mind when our brain is relaxed enough to really absorb everything that's going on. And so with that being said, we are in a hypnotic state when we're watching TV, right? Have you ever been like, hello, what's going on to your children? They're like in the hypnotic state. We also are in a hypnotic state before we go to bed, when our brain waves kind of go into theta, a more relaxed spot. And that is when we're the most suggestible. So when we listen to hypnosis on our way, like while we're going to sleep, it really is speaking life into our subconscious when we're the most suggestible. And so that can be a cool way to retrain your subconscious. And then the third thing, I call it hacking your home. And it's truly just about putting positive words everywhere. You see Tanner has I am enough in his background, right? Our subconscious is always absorbing our environment, even if we're not consciously aware of it. So I want to hack my home by putting what I want everywhere around my house. I have positive words on my boys' door, and I have a rock by their bed that has positive words on it. Like, you're just kind of putting it everywhere because I know their subconscious is absorbing it, even if they're not consciously reading it. And so because we know this stuff, right? We know how our brain works. We know how the subconscious works. We can hack that by gaining clarity on what it is we want, by putting it everywhere, and then creating those new habits, those new actions that take us where we want to go.
Nice.
Totally agree. Yeah. You covered it well. Yeah, some of my solutions kind of cover some of those things as well, because I feel like those are really solid solutions, right? Repetition is super key to being able to, access and reprogram the subconscious mind. And, that's really how habits are built, just like you were talking about. And yeah, the hypnosis, that is super important, I feel like, as well. Just, activating that theta state and being able to go into that point, because when we are kids, right, we have our brains are in that state of theta where, that's why kids can learn so quick. That's why kids, are so I guess malleable, you could say. That's they're really absorbing everything. So like, when people say, teach a kid like a language when they're between the ages of 2 and 7, that's because they're in that theta state. They can pick it all up much quicker, and they're on hyperdrive essentially.
Yeah, it's fascinating to think. My son just turned 9, and I remember the summer he went from 7 to 8, and it really was interesting to see him in that age range and kind of grow, and because that's the age when they become a bit more aware of the world around them, and they're less I don't know, most of what they've absorbed is our personality is formed within the first 7 years. So it was really fascinating to watch him grow. And basically what happened is he went from like my best bud to Brandon's best bud. And so it was really interesting to see that shift. But
yeah, that's good. My son's 9 too, so I understand that for sure.
Yeah.
Do you use Marissa Peer, Denise, to send out?
Yeah. So I do. I use Marissa Peer. She's great, but I also have a contact who, for my certification program, those clients get it included, which is really fun. Nice. She does a personalized hypnosis for you. So she'll take you through RTT, like the rapid transformational therapy, the Marissa Peer's protocol, essentially, which was nice because that's what we were already using. And so she'll do a 2-hour personal hypnosis with you via Zoom, identify your limiting beliefs and your specific stuck points, and then create a personalized hypnosis just for you. And so it has your name in it, and it's like really geared towards what you're looking for. And the first time I heard mine, I just was in tears because it was like exactly what my soul needed to hear. And so
Nice.
now I include that in my certification program. People get to have access to and get their own, which is pretty cool.
It's awesome. That's
Yeah,
really
that's a great
important.
idea.
Great. Bryce, you want to kind of hop into some of your solutions as well?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I agree with everything Denise said, of course, right? And a lot of what I talk about is the environment as well, and just distractions, right? So, you know, we know that once your body gets to be more toxic or your mind is more toxic, we go into that state of, okay, my body's, you know, under attack. I need to just get the subconscious to kind of kick in and look around and see where I'm not going to be attacked from, and follow what the other people are doing. So really, I want people to understand that, you know, getting rid of those distractions that are toxic, whether it's, you know, alcohol, weed, porn, you know, fast food, TV in general, those things are all kind of what we consider toxic to our mind and our body. Once you start to remove those, and everyone's going to be on a different sort of timeline as opposed to doing a cold turkey like Nathan and I know we talked about it, and just stopping it completely and seeing what happens type thing. Some people are going to be a little slower, but removing those negative sort of distractions that are creating a toxic environment are going to help you to start to think more with your conscious mind. So when you're starting to implement, you know, different habits in your life and day, it's going to be a lot easier to stick to them, right? So I hear it time again from men where they're like, yeah, you know what, they describe self-sabotage when they're talking, they don't realize it. So I'm doing this thing, I'm starting to eat healthy, I'm going through a couple of weeks, maybe a month, and then I go back and I start eating bad again, and it just keeps going on for weeks, and I'm like, you just described self-sabotage, that's what it is, right? So just removing those distractions and you know, really setting your environment up for success is my go-to, right? That's my go-to plan. Is it does include some of the hypno as well, more on the side of just sort of getting your mind out of that toxic state, so you can start to implement like affirmations and stuff like that before bed, and when you first wake up in the morning. I do that stuff as well. And same idea, I do that, and I have them written down on pieces of paper in random places around, and if I look and see them, I just read them to myself, right? And that sort of repetition, we know that people become negative from repetition, from the stuff that they're exposed to. So we just flip the switch and get them to, you know, be subjected to the positive things over and over and over again. And eventually it becomes a part of who you are. And as Denise mentioned, you know, these habits that we do, like brushing our teeth, we don't think about brushing your teeth. Your conscious mind doesn't say, well, I'm going to get my toothbrush, I'm going to get some water on it, I'm going to put some toothpaste. You just do it. You're probably even talking to somebody while you're doing it and thinking of other things. So once you start to incorporate, you know, getting up and doing 30 push-ups first thing in the morning, you don't need coffee, you get the 30 push-ups. That becomes an identity thing then. I want somebody to get that in, do that every morning. It seems like it's work at first, but it energizes you, right? Some people like to go right outside and get that sunshine. I mean, that's definitely great as well. Here in Canada, when we have -30, there's no sun out. You're like, where's the sun? It's been gone for weeks. So yeah, I mean, really, it's the environment that I focus on. It's what you're subjecting yourself to, and just sort of flipping it or turning it around, and sort of removing those negatives and pushing in some positives that you're just going to be seeing day after day. And then next thing you know, it becomes who you are, right? It becomes part of your life is eating healthy and getting that good stuff in you. And then as your body becomes less toxic, it sort of becomes that much easier to sort of incorporate new habits that can take you forward even further.
I love the thought that when your body and mind are toxic, you don't have the brain space to be a leader and to charge forward and to make healthy choice. Basically, we default right into following, because that's all that we can handle when we're filled with that toxicity.
Yep. And stress as well, right? Like if you're filled with that stress, what are you going to do? You're not going to start to forge a new path, or take on something new, you're going to say, I need to do what everyone else is doing. Right. To taking that load off you.
We make short-term decisions when we're stressed.
Yep.
We're not making long-term decisions. We're like, I'm exhausted. And, we just do what's easiest in that moment for sure.
Yeah.
Yep. When we're stressed and we feel like we have no time, often we're start to cut out, and Holly is gone, but she was all talking about how health, right, really influences our self-sabotage. And when we start thinking short term, start to thinking like, oh, we don't have time for this, oftentimes that health kind of gets looked down on and kind of cheated, I guess you could say. We reach for like the McDonald's or that fast food or the Subway or whatever, and then that does lead into more self-sabotage, just like Bryce was talking. The brain and the body, when when those things are polluted, that really increases self-sabotage and makes it so we can't really be that leader that we need to be, because we're not thinking long term, we're thinking short term. That flight or flight response that Denise was talking about on part 2, that gets activated, and that cortisol level's high, and we're just really thinking quick fix, quick solutions. Where do I get that dopamine fix? Where do I make myself feel temporarily better? Not even thinking long term how it's going to set us up for.
It's panic too. Like, people are panicking. It's like, just breathe, relax, slow down, and consciously think about, well, why am I eating that chocolate bar today? Why am I going to get that Macca's today? Just think about it and go, hang on a minute, breathe, relax, slow down. It's okay. Stay in the present. Deep breathe and relax.
Yeah.
Ted and I spoke about it. Ted and I spoke about it in my interview with Ted. He said a lot of people are breathing through their mouths. Do a deep breath in through your nose, out through your mouth, and just decompress, relax. You'll feel a shift.
Yeah, you're right. Well, I mean, we all know what it's like to kind of be in that fight or flight or that stress mode, right? And when you're in your head and you're freaking out. And so I think that's exactly the first step, is to get yourself out of fight or flight and into rest and digest, so we can make conscious choices.
Yeah. And I mean, interrupting the process is a big part. Once you start to practice it, you start to notice, okay, I'm reaching for this right now. And then you start to interrupt it. Oh, I know why I'm reaching for it, because I never slept well last night. I'm really hungry now. I don't have a plan. And now I'm going to go ahead and just reach for the fast food because that's what I did for the last 7 years of my life. So interrupting that process is part of it. Even today, I noticed it. I actually went outside today and did some cold therapy, and sort of just put my feet in the cold for a little while. And when I came in, my wife was like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm primal." And I didn't realize that I had seen somebody's story earlier that day. They had one of those primal sort of sauces you can buy in a glass jar, from the company Primal. And I right away, I knew. I was like, I use that word because I had seen it. And that's sort of where I am now in my life is, I can tell why I'm doing something, or I'm interrupting that process. So I think becoming aware of, what you're doing and why you're doing it is a huge part of self-sabotage.
Spot on. Great. Any other input here, or should we move on to Nathan?
Just the power of being consciously aware of why you're doing what you're doing. You can implement change instantly. It's so powerful. Mm-hmm. So powerful for us. Love that.
Totally agree. Nathan, you want to go into some of your solutions here?
Yeah. So, I've spoken about it before, and Tanner makes a bit of a joke about it, but it is really beneficial. What I do is, if I've had a day where I've been in the fight or flight, or I've been stressed, or I've spoken to someone the wrong way, or I was rude, or I was, all these things, I just sit in my room, I put a candle on, usually a relaxation candle, I stare into it, and then I just lay down and I sit down and I stretch and release and breathe, and deep breathe in through my nose, out through my mouth, and just relax and decompress from the day. And quite often my body will tell me what came up that day and where I was holding it in. Sometimes I hold in my shoulders, so I'll do some of the pull check shoulder stretches from How to Eat, Move, and Be Healthy, and just release and decompress, because quite often people hold their stuff in their guts or their shoulders and their back, and that's where the pain comes from. That's the understanding of learning about the pain teacher. Pain always has a message for you. You just got to sit and listen, and you'll quite often the subconscious or a word or something will come into your head and you'll go, that's where my pain is. That's why I have it. And it's very easy. You can ask your body to release that pain. And quite often you'll do some stretches, something like this or something like this. And it just works for me. Paul Check got me onto that, reading that book. It's just awesome. That's a solution that I have adapted into my nightly routine before bed. Then I'll put a Marissa Peer on, and then good night, Nathan. The lights are off on the sleep.
Yeah, I love that.
So,
Yeah, I feel like being aware of your body is so important, right? And
yeah,
I don't want to say like I'm down on anything on your stretching, because I love that idea, you know, getting there and like feeling what's going on in your body and realizing, hey, I'm holding on to tension here. I'm holding on to that stress here. So I love that. You do that, man.
yeah, because that tension and stress doesn't serve me anymore. So I just release that. I don't need it, and I just send it away. So that's just what I do. Another one that worked for me that Denise and I touched on in our chat was journaling. Journaling how you feel. So I sit and ask my body sometimes. I'll journal it too. I'll go, well, today I spoke to that person not very nicely. How can I be better next time? Where am I holding it in? So my body's already shifting it before I even get to my room. You know, journal what you're grateful for. I pick out 5 things that I'm grateful for throughout the day. I could have had the worst day, but I'll still find 5 things I'm grateful for. I'm grateful that I'm still here and breathing. I'm grateful that I'm taking control of my health and my life, and I have my power back. And I'm grateful for the sunshine, it's sunny here right now. You know, find things that you're grateful for, and then you can watch your life change from that, because expressing gratitude is the highest frequency that we can be at. And even if you've had the worst day, I'm sure you can still find 5 things that you're grateful for. Be grateful that you're here and breathing in this present moment. There's an affirmation for you, for those out there.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, like I love those solutions as well. And you know, one big thing that we need to discuss when it comes to people starting out is they're going to be bombarded with like all these different things. Like, okay, I've got to eat healthy. I've got to exercise. I got to build muscle. I've got to eat enough protein and like different things like that. So just the simple little steps of, you know, when you sit down to eat and you're stressed, you've been running around, just sit and take a couple breaths, right? So, you know, right away, when you take those breaths into your nose, you got the parasympathetic system now is activated, right? And all of a sudden your digestion opens up and you can assimilate some of the nutrients that you're eating. Whereas if you eat when you're stressed, you could eat a really healthy meal and you really don't even take it in. And people will find, oh, I was really bloated after I ate that. And simply because you just never de-stressed before you ate. So these little tips and tricks that everybody's mentioning here today are they're gold, right? They're stuff that you should work towards. It doesn't mean that you have to do everything at once, but like journaling is something that, you know, even just planning, like before the day starts, the next day, like an evening, I'll always say out loud what I'm going to do tomorrow. Just yeah, like I say it. You know, writing it down is even a better step, I think. But I'll say, okay, tomorrow I'm gonna have this for breakfast, and then I got to do my workout. Then after my workout, you know, and you just say it, and it kind of gets into your routine, right?
I do that all the time.
And that's great. And I did read something that was kind of interesting a while ago, that, you know, when you're listening to somebody speak, or you know, listening to an audiobook or something like that, you can retain about 10% of that information. Whereas if you write it down, you can take about 85 to 90% of it. So I definitely encourage, you know, go to your local sort of, you know, Staples hardware store, something like that, and get a big pack of like notepads, have them around, get used to writing for people who don't write, because we're in such a, you know, a texting and sort of stuff environment. Write down stuff all the time. Write down what you want to do. I mean, we can probably spend a whole podcast on, you know, journaling about your future, your next 5 years, that sort of stuff. But I definitely am a big proponent of that. I recommend people write down where they want to see themselves in 5 years, because as adults, right, we think about 5 years ahead, not 5 minutes, not pleasure seeking like children do. So I love that about the journaling, for sure.
Yeah, because when you start writing what you're grateful for, all of that comes with it.
Yep.
Just start, you know. Just make that start, and then all of the rest of it will just come, because you're journaling your goals, your aspirations, and your future. You know, that will come with that. And then you can make those changes that we've just spoken about, from the food to the drink to all of it, really.
Yeah, you're setting it in motion when you write it down. That's the way I look at
Setting
it
the
too.
intention, and
Yeah.
setting the intention is very, very powerful. Set the intention, because the universe will give it back to you.
Yep. And I feel like a big important part is, when you are saying that gratitude intention, you're actually feeling that gratitude. There's been proven studies that show when you feel different things like towards water, it can actually change like the structure of water, have different crystalline structures. And so when they showed gratitude, it actually like was a beautiful structure, and they showed like what it looked like when when someone was upset or frustrated or depressed. And you can tell the major difference. And when that's important, because we're made up about 70% of water. So just think about that, how that's affecting your body. Whenever you're showing that gratitude, you're literally changing like the energy inside your body. And that's really what our thoughts and our words are, is just energy. Like I kind of talked about in my in part one, right? Because they've proven it with quantum physics, where everything is just energy. Everything is made up of atoms, everything is made up of those quantum particles, and those quantum particles are just really energy vortexes. So whenever we're thinking, that's made up of energy. You, me, and I, we're all energy. Everything is energy. So when we are thinking these things, we're literally are creating or changing our life just by showing some gratitude or journaling or things like that.
But if you're doing the opposite, well, then you're living out the life that you don't necessarily want to live out. I know how powerful mirror work is. Like, my brother had some issues with his weight for years, and the way he would look at himself in the mirror was very negative. He changed that thought. He changed his life. He's lost all of that weight just by the way he looks at himself in the mirror. I know, Denise, you're here. You might be able to touch on it. The women with the programming about the mirror work, like, it's so powerful, not only for women, but for everyone. The way you look at yourself in the mirror can shape the way your day's going to go out. I know if you want to delve into that, maybe, but yeah, just my brother, and even I adapted some of that mirror work too. And it's genuinely so powerful what you say yourself, how you view yourself in the mirror. If it's a positive way, then you're already in that positive frequency and vibration.
I have to share a quick story. I was in the middle of creating my program. So I'm recording, I have to create the PDFs or the, PDFs and the slides for my training talk, and doing my training talk. And I'm sitting here in my office and I'm working on a specific week. And my son yells across the house and he said, "Mom, is it helpful to say something to yourself when you're staring at yourself in the mirror?" And I was like, yes. And I added that exercise to that exact week. And I was like, oh, and God just spoke to me through.
Nice.
What are the chances? But mirror work is when you stare at your own eyes in the mirror and you tell yourself what you're grateful for about yourself. You say thank you to yourself. You're speaking these loving words to yourself. And it can be so awkward at the beginning because, number one, we don't really look in our own souls very often. And number two, when we do, we're often not saying nice things. And so Jack Canfield teaches a lot about this, and to spend like just even 2 minutes a day to look at yourself in the mirror and say out loud to yourself positive things, telling yourself that you're grateful, you love yourself, and you're, thank you, it changes you on a cellular level.
Yes, it does.
And it's something like and it doesn't take long. You know what I mean? Like, you don't need to do it every day for the rest of your life. Try it for 1 week and you'll be shifted.
Yep. Even just putting an affirmation above the mirror. My brother and I, in the mirror in our bathroom, we have "I love you." So we say that to ourselves every time we walk into the bathroom. We see that above the mirror and then we just go, "I love you." So powerful.
Yeah, and I mean it's powerful even for people who, don't, maybe never had that throughout their life too, right? How many times do people say, like, I've never been told that someone loves me, or I've never been told that I'm a great listener, or like, so if there's something you're wanting to work on, that's a perfect time to do it, right? You don't need somebody else to say that. You can say it to yourself. It'll have the same reaction, right? Yeah, great stuff.
That's so true because so many of us are waiting on external validation when we could really just be giving ourselves that validation, and that's usually more impactful
Yeah.
because how we feel about ourselves really does affect how we perform out in the world. How we are leaders or how we are successful or our confidence or how we go out into relationships and love other people. It affects everything. So I totally agree with that. And yeah, that's awesome. I love this conversation.
Same here. It's so good. We have all the answers right here inside of us. They're all here. We're always told, listen to your heart, follow your heart. It's in songs. It's in even the movies. It's like, well, you actually do need to listen to your heart because that's where all the knowledge, all the wisdom, all the love, all the gratification, everything is right here. Right here.
Yep. Yeah, I think, go ahead, Denise.
Well, I was just going to say, when I work with trauma survivors, they can feel like at the bottom of the pit, you know what I mean? And so oftentimes they say, well, they'll say things like, good for you, but could I really do this? And is affirmations really going to make my life better? Like, so much hurt. I've had so much hurt and I've had so much pain, and will this actually change things? And the answer is yes. It really, really, really will, because the more you do it, it's like we have these thought patterns, right? It's like a gutter ball. You're in bowling, our thoughts have these boop. They're like, it's just habits, as trite as that sounds. They're just thought habits. And so we can create new thought habits. And when we create these new thought habits that create new grooves, we have new energy connected to it. It creates different chemicals within our body. It shifts our self-image. And when we have different chemicals that are firing, different hormones that are firing within our body, it impacts the gene expression with epigenetics, because genes can be turned on and off based on the environment you give it. And so, like, yes, absolutely, everything can change with starting with some of these mirror work or affirmations or journaling over time. It takes some time, but over time you absolutely can shift your entire self-image from one that's a victim, right, into one that's a survivor.
People, if you're looking for the quick fix with this work, you're not necessarily going to get that quick fix. This takes a lot of time, a lot of patience, and a lot of kindness to yourself to get to where we are. I'm still working on a lot of these things, but I'm getting a lot better at it, becoming consciously aware. It's just a matter of being kind, patient, and you'll get there eventually, baby steps.
Yeah, like the self-inner talk is definitely the best place for somebody to start. If somebody's listening today and they don't have a coach and they're not sure where to start, right now as you're watching this, you could pause it and you could say something good about yourself. The self-inner talk is paramount when it comes to how many times in a day we say something to ourselves, or in a situation when somebody says something, how we react. We immediately go, like Denise said, we pick the safe card, the one that we've been programmed to do. Yeah, no, I wouldn't do that. I'm not lucky. No, I can't do that. I'm not, that never works for me. Or just that you could just go on and on about those sayings, and we hear them all the time. And that's all they are. They're just sayings that you develop that seem to fit in the situation, and they're socially acceptable. But when you start to interrupt those and really think about what you say, I know when I do, my sort of intake form and I see that language right away, you can tell. And somebody's using, like, they'll use the word stupid, or and it's funny when I say these words because I don't say them in my life. So when I say them, they seem like foreign words, right? Stupid or hate or something like that. And just switching those words for something positive can have a profound effect on yourself, but also the people around you, the people that, when you're coming in contact with somebody and they'll start to notice. They'll be like, wow, you're not as negative as you normally are. So that's an example of how your energy starts to feed out to people. And then now all of a sudden somebody likes being around you and you've got a different relationship now. So I can't stress that enough, the power of that self-inner talk. Yeah.
Great. So I'll kind of talk about what my solutions are. So you guys all know I talked about the power of words. And if you guys missed those, make sure you guys go check that out. But really, for the power of words, a lot of my solutions cover like if those negative, like automatic negative thoughts, they keep coming back, you are trying these affirmations and you keep having these negative thoughts. And you're like, what is going on? Like, how can I deal with these negative thoughts? Well, I got a couple techniques you guys can use. And they use imagination, they use emotion, they use your visualization, because these things all really deeply impact our subconscious mind. The first technique, well, actually, first I want to say a big part of understanding where your verbal self-sabotage comes from is just awareness. Being aware of what you're saying, being aware of like the words that are coming out of your mouth, right? Because so many of us like have these negative thoughts and we just think they're normal and we don't even pay attention to them. So they're just going through our mind constantly. And most people don't even bat an eye at like the negative thoughts that come through. So being aware of what's actually going through. And then like if you do have those negative thoughts that come through, there's a technique called the delete technique. And this delete technique is really what you do. Let's say someone says something bad to you, or you hear like a bad message. You picture that message like on like a computer screen, and maybe like it's on a Word document. There's that blinking light or blinking line after that phrase. Like maybe it says, you are looking ugly today, or something like that, right? And you see that blinking line after it's waiting your command. What are you going to be typing? What are you going to be deleting it? And you just see a keyboard, and that delete button is just bright red. It's glowing. It's calling your name, and you can just press that delete button and watch that word and that phrase just disappear. And you can feel that emotion. Let yourself feel that emotion of just it's gone. It's gone. It feels good. And then you can take it a step further and imagine yourself typing something new in there, right? So you're literally deleting that thought out of your head, and you're replacing it with something new. And so this is something actually me and my wife do all the time. So like if we catch each other saying something like, "Oh man, you just said this negative thing, delete," and then we'll go through and try to delete it. So you can kind of make a game out of it, and or like we'll look at each other like when we hear someone else say something, and we'll just like delete, like we'll kind of mouth it to each other, because it is really powerful. It sounds weird, but it's because the visualization, that emotion, those things all really do impact our subconscious mind. That's why when things like trauma happen or something like that, those thoughts keep coming back over and over, because it was such a highly traumatic, very emotional, very visual experience. So you can use that delete technique to really address it. Then another one is really called the substitution technique, which is you can just replace it with something. So instead of just deleting it, you can just, when that thought comes up, just start to sing. You can start to sing your affirmation. Is that, you had a thought, oh, I don't have enough money. You can start to sing, I am wealthy. I am wealthy. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. I'm absolutely wealthy. Absolutely wealthy. Yes, I am. And you can just make up different songs like this. Like when I actually turned off all the music in my car, and I'll just go through singing random affirmation songs I just make up off the top of my head. And when you first start, you may not be the best at singing. That's okay. You don't have to be amazing at singing. You'll get better and better as you go, and you'll start to enjoy it. And that is an amazing way to start, taking away those negative. The big part is also just taking away those negative influences, right? Because Bryce and Denise and Nathan, we were all talking about how it may take a while to start reprogramming your subconscious mind. Really, what makes it take longer is if you don't remove those negative influences. If you don't remove those negative songs, you don't remove those negative TV shows, if you don't start to remove like the negative social media out of your life, because you may be saying those affirmations, but if you're starting to see the same negative things over and over, then you're kind of like fighting it yourself with reprogramming yourself, right? So you want to start to remove those negative influences and bring back those positive influences, really ramp them up, and really just start to do a 180 on your life. And it could be step by step. You don't have to do it all like once and freak out if a negative thought comes to your mind. Please don't punish yourself if like a negative thought does come to your mind, or you find yourself self-sabotaging. Be kind to yourself, and just try a different technique. If one of these techniques is not working for you, make up your own. I made up one with that had to do with Harry Potter, because my wife loves Harry Potter. So if you guys know what the Dementors are, they're like black cloaked figures that come and suck out all your good feelings. And I kind of equated those to your negative thoughts. They can come and kind of suck out our good day, our positivity, our courage, our ability to be confident. But you can just think of a really good feeling and imagine that good feeling charging forward, maybe as a spirit animal or something like a expecto patronum, like in Harry Potter, and fighting off that bad feeling. You just use your visualization. It doesn't matter. I think Nathan had one about throwing up some black sludge or something. Wasn't that? Didn't you tell me that?
Hey,
Oh, maybe not. I don't.
that might
I
not be
remember.
me.
Maybe it wasn't you. Okay, actually, I think it was actually one of our talks together. Someone put a comment down below in our YouTube, and he said, I like this delete technique, but what I do is I just imagine myself like throwing up those negative words out of my mouth
Yes,
into like
you did.
into a jar, and I just cap those jars and storm away, and they never come back again. So it doesn't really matter the technique that you use, as long as you use visualization, as long as you use the emotion, and let yourself actually use that visualization. And for everyone out there who doesn't believe they have visualization, right? Like, oh, I don't have visualization. That was only when I was a kid. I want you to try not to imagine a purple elephant balancing on a lime green rug, holding a yellow soccer ball, right?
I just
That
got
thought
that.
all came to your mind, even if you tried not to think about it. And that kind of brings me into my next point of affirmations, right? Affirmations are really powerful, but a lot of people kind of go down the route of saying, I'm not fat, I'm not this, I'm not that. But your subconscious mind doesn't understand the negatives. So you got to stay in the positives, you got to stay in the present tense. And you got to affirm that you are that way now and focus on what you do want, not what you don't want. I kind of went over a lot, but of course, the vision boards, hypnosis. I do have one more, which is really more about food, and it's something that I use every single day in my life. It's muscle testing, and I did learn it from Paul Chek. So it's just really the duckbill muscle testing method. I made a video about it. Really, all it is just talking to your body. And when I learned about it, they said he was talking to your body, but really, it made more sense to me when you're thinking about you're talking to your subconscious mind, because your subconscious mind really controls all bodily functions. So if you have to go to the bathroom, that's your subconscious mind sending you a message saying, hey, you got to go to the bathroom, right? So when you are muscle testing, you're talking to your subconscious mind. And you can ask yourself things like, what should I be eating today? Should I have this chicken? Should I work out today? Should I not work out today? And just yes or no simple answers. If you guys want to see more specifics, because it can probably take a little bit of time to actually go into that whole solution. You guys, I'll post a link to my video down below, but muscle testing can be an amazing source to just make sure you're not overworking out, or make sure, because that can be a form of self-sabotage, right? People, I think working out's great, but some people overdo it and they really hurt their bodies. Some people eat the same foods over and over, and no one diet's going to work for everyone. That's why I'm a really big fan of muscle testing, because you can really tune into what your body needs at that very time. But yeah, open the floor to everyone. Oh, sorry, I got a little passionate there.
No, good. I love it. Visualization. I've been doing that a lot lately. I've just visualized like water, or I even visualize just my healthy self. It's like, what would healthy Nathan do? I visualized healthy Nathan sitting on a beach. I'll walk up to him and I ask him, what would healthy Nathan do here in any situation? That's visualization. Yeah, I could go on heaps of epic tangents when I visualize, but that's just one I use. I visualize myself as the healthy, strongest version of myself, and I go and ask that person, what should I do? What would healthy Nathan do here? Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, I think, to kind of sum up what we're talking about there, and great stuff, Tanner, for sure, about the mindset and visualizations is really just interrupting that process, right? You're driving to work every day, you're doing the same drive, you're seeing the same people, you're hearing the same stories, you're coming home, you're eating the same food, you're watching the same shows. If they're a different show, they have the same content, the same negative sort of message. It's just really about interrupting that, right? Take a different route to work, right? Get up a little earlier, do something different. And we're really just trying to explain to people that when you're letting somebody else, push everything on you, you're not choosing to think a certain way. You're being told how to think and how to feel and how to act. But if you start to take onus on it yourself, you really can, the sky's the limit. That if you want health and you want wealth and you want, exciting friends that aren't negative all the time, you can actually have that at any age. So that's the biggest message I think we're trying to say, that there are little solutions that you can do, but you have to be doing those solutions. You have to be in action. You can't just sit there and wish for, oh, I really wish I was, maybe later on in my life, I'll be healthier. Or you have to start saying, I'm healthy now. I'm healthy and capable now, and I can make decisions. I'm a very capable, sovereign human being, and I can make these decisions what's best for me. I don't have to people please. I don't have to, give into distractions when I'm feeling sorry. I can sit in the room by myself without the TV, and I can feel that pain. I can feel what it feels like in my body, and then I can get up and do something about it. So I just wanted to reiterate sort of what you guys are saying, because it is a powerful message. We sort of sometimes not take it for granted, but we're doing it every day and we're talking about it every day. Whereas somebody new that hears this, you really just need to take onus on it and start doing those little things and interrupt your process that you're going through every day.
Yeah, we all have time. All it takes is 5 to 10 minutes each day, and if you add that up over a week, over a month, over a year, that's a lot of time on yourself. Even if it's just 5 to 10 minutes a day to do one or two or three of these things, it adds up over time, and you'll get better at it, and you'll find yourself doing it for half an hour, and you'll go, well, over a week, over a month, over a year, bang, there it is. There's your change. So powerful.
I just did an annual planning workshop with my clients. And so the first hour is all about like taking ownership, or taking a look, reflecting back, right, on this past year and what we accomplished and how much did we make and how many clients did we serve, and really taking a look at where we've come from over this past year, because we often don't recognize how far we've already come. And I love creating the space for, number one, like Bryce, you said, we're adults here. Like there was a season in our life where maybe we outsourced our happiness to other people because we truly didn't have power. But if you're in a job you don't like, you have the ability to change, right? If you're in a relationship you don't like, you have the ability to change. And so oftentimes, even as adults, we snap back to what we know, even if we don't really like it, but we do have the ability to change. And so the way that we can take these steps outside of our comfort zone and start creating these new habits is by finding people 3 steps ahead of ourselves and going to hang out with them. And that's part of the environment. That's part of our home, finding those people who have already established those habits and connecting with them, learning from them, but being a part of their community, because accountability and feedback will help us shift. If we're left to our own devices, we'll all snap back to what's easier. That's why we've got to create these communities for ourselves, intentionally join them, intentionally seek out help, because if we're not going to do it on our own, or else we already would. So today, not only did we kind of give ourselves a pat on the back and go, you know what, we actually already are taking steps. We might not be where we want to be. Like, no, there's no end point, right? Like the journey is the whole story. So, but when we look back and we see how far we've come, we can really own that, be excited for ourselves, and then plan our next year together too.
Being grateful for that too, Denise.
Yeah.
Powerful
yeah. Like
stuff.
if we knew just how awesome we were, you know what I mean? Like we wouldn't let all of these
sort of like a
outside
throwaway line, isn't it? People say, oh, we're so powerful, but we actually are.
Yeah.
Like we actually are. Yeah.
And I mean, even this day and age, we have access to social media where we can fix our YouTube channels, we can fix our Instagram, we can fix our Facebook friends profiles or follows, to just sort of interact with people that we want to be or we want to aspire to. So I know that when I go down through my Instagram feed, it's like a flash of like, for me, it's I have strong men there with their shirts off in my Instagram post, because I want to be powerful. I want to be strong, right? There's wealthy stuff. There's yachts there. There's stuff that I'm aspiring to know that, yeah, maybe I don't have it today or I don't have it tomorrow, but at some point I'm going to have that, or I'm going to be really close to it. And on the other end of it, if you don't surround yourself with that and you just have negative people and you have nothing to look forward to, then it's easy to fall back into, like Denise said, it's easy to fall back into that old subconscious sort of programming, right?
Surround yourself with better so you become better.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's going to be quite hard when you take a look at who you're surrounding yourself with. I'm sure we all went through it. I know I did. It was really hard for me, but I got through it. But it's who you surround yourself with. If you're surrounding yourself with people that are doing all of these things and more, then if you rise up and become better, well, they're not going to rise up and become better with you sometimes. And that's just the way it has to be. But if you surround yourself with people, as Denise said, that are 3, 4, 5, 6 steps ahead, which is something I've done in the last 3 weeks by becoming friends with all of you guys and seeing content and actually hanging out with people in my town that are a few steps ahead, it's like, yeah, I'm striving to be just like you or better.
Mm-hmm.
It's so powerful, but that is a really hard process to sit in as well. It is sort of like a grief when you sort of remove that old version of yourself, those old friends, those old people, but when you do that, you really do bring in the new, because I'm living that right now. I've brought in some awesome people that I would not change for the world, like being able to connect with you guys from other countries and surrounding myself with people just like you guys who are a couple of steps ahead. It's like I'm striving to be just like you, and it's so powerful. So thank you guys, and I'm grateful to be able to meet you guys through this awesome work with Jason. So yeah.
Yep, same. Grateful to meet you, buddy.
Yeah.
Grateful. And yeah, I think it's so important that we realize that when we are the imitative learners, right? Because that's why peer pressure is so powerful, right? That's why when we're around a group of people who are doing something we know we probably shouldn't be doing, we tend to start going towards that because we are essentially that subconscious mind is just trying to seek the safety within the bigger group. But I love how Bryce talked about how you can go online and start to change your tribe online, because it doesn't really matter if it is in person, if it's fiction or it's reality, or if it's online or if it's in person. It all really does impact your subconscious mind. So for the people who are like, how do I find these new friends? How do I do these things? Well, a good place to start is just go online, find the YouTubes, go listen to Tony Robbins, go listen to the big names, go listen to other people like me, Bryce, Denise, Nathan.
Yeah, follow us.
We all talk about these things, and you can literally become and start to convince your subconscious mind that, hey, I'm now part of a different tribe. I'm now part of a healthy tribe. I'm now part of a tribe who likes to take care of myself, who loves themselves. And it does have a very big impact on our lives. I know that was very impactful for me as well. I moved away, so then I didn't have a lot of my friends around me. But then the way I was able to do it, because when I moved, I was in like the peak of the whole COVID thing going on, right? And so no one really wanted to go for groups. There was no groups really happening. No one was really meeting up. So that's where I focused my attention, was online. Where can I get as much positive influences as possible online? What podcasts can I listen to? What YouTubes can I listen to? Who can I connect with online? And so I'm really thankful that I did find a big group of like-minded people within this coaching community, self-sabotage coaching community, because it has really been an amazing experience, just reaching out and meeting every single one of you and conversing with you guys. So thank you for all coming on here. I love that.
It sounds like you set the intention for that, Tanner, because I did the same thing during 2020 as well. And I found Jason, I found Paul Check, I found so many awesome podcasts, and I just stripped away the old stuff that I was listening to, because I subconsciously, I guess, set the intention that I wanted to become better. And then, yeah, it's literally, I did the exact same thing. And then I found Jason, and here I am now talking to you guys. It's like that journey can change so quickly, because I've currently changed in 2 years. It can happen so quick. Really can.
Yeah, it's powerful. And that's the point, that you have the power to create your sort of environment. And yeah, you can start right now by just sort of, removing those negative things and starting to switch in some positive things. Like, the radio is something that, I don't listen to at all. I don't even turn it on in the car. Right. So the silence is enough, because you're thinking about your thoughts, and it's such small little things that it seems like such a small thing to try. Like, just turn the radio off when you get in the car, or when you come home, just don't flick the TV on automatically. Right. And then, because you're removing those same sort of influences right away. So
yeah,
do it.
I got a little story about that. I've been doing that a lot over the last 12 months, just having the radio off and just sitting in my thoughts, talking to myself. Well, it's been a bit hot here lately. I had the window down yesterday, and I was at the traffic lights, and the bloke next to me, I was just talking to myself, and the guy's like, "Are you talking to me, mate?" I'm like, "Nah, just talking to myself." And I'd look around and go, "Oh, yeah." Like I didn't really it's back to that point where you don't really care what people think of you anymore. I was just happily just talking to myself, just planning what I was doing today and all that sort of stuff. And old mate's just like, "Hey, you talking to me?"
That's good. I like that.
Yeah. I don't know how spiritual we can go, but I'm not really talking to myself. I'm talking to some family members that have passed on. They're guiding me on this awesome journey. And once you tap into that sort of stuff too, the spiritual stuff, wow, watch your life change there, because that's powerful too. Yeah.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
Awesome. Oh, well, does anyone have any other inputs before we wrap this thing up?
Yeah, just reach out and ask for help. We always say it. I'm sort of subconsciously programming people to reach out and ask for help. Just reach out and ask for help. We can't do it all on our own, as Bryce said, and as we've all said. We've all had mentors and people that have helped us along the way. Just reach out and ask for help. We also know heaps of people that can also help as well, so it's not just us. So yeah, reach out and ask for help is what I'll finish with.
Is this a good time to share any freebies that we have for the audience?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, definitely.
So one of the questions that I get a lot is people will say, "I don't really know what I want. I just know I don't want to be here." And so I created the Dream Board brainstorming kit to give people a roadmap for helping to tap into some of those desires that may have been dampened. And you can get this for free. It's a download, and it's at dreamworkbook.com/dreamboardkit. dreamworkbook.com/dreamboardkit. And then if anyone out there is like, okay, I want this next year to be different. Like we know, right? The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. So if we really want something different, I got to do something different. And so I do have my 90-day U-turn program, which is starting again January 17th. We meet for 12 Tuesdays. Everybody gets about a 45-minute to an hour training each week. You get a PDF that you can write down your own answers. And then we meet weekly for accountability and community. And this is for women only.
Anywhere in the world?
Anywhere in the world.
There's awesome Australians that we can probably.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we meet Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. So I guess right now, which would be Wednesday mornings or Wednesday afternoons for you. The other cool thing is that if people aren't able to meet in the community, I do sell just the course itself. So that is an option. But yeah, I have had people from UK get up at 2 a.m. and be a part of it.
Wow.
Nice.
Awesome. So we'll put a link to that in the bottom. I'll put a link to that in the video I'll put in. Yeah. So Denise, you want to? Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that would be awesome. 90dayuturn.com is that website, but I'll get you guys the details.
Beautiful.
We'll put those on the descriptions. Yeah, I think that's so awesome, creating that community. That's fantastic. You've been able to create that program, and it sounds like it's a very powerful program.
It's really fun, and then because it's open and close, it's the same group that goes through it every week. So you really get to know people. And the relationships that have been formed it's like you guys have said, we've got to find people who are growth focused to hang out with. And this is a piece of that puzzle.
Love it.
Nice. Good stuff.
Nathan, you want to go next?
Yeah. I'll offer a free Zoom consultation. Just to wrap up my Breaking Free program. I'll even chuck in some affirmations. Yeah, I can chuck in some general male and female affirmations just to get you started, to do with self-love. The ones that me and my brother use are awesome. So I'll just share those. I'll put them in the bottom. There you go. That's what I'll share. Yeah.
Great. Very powerful.
Nice. Yeah. I have a group that I manage on Facebook. There's about 40 men in there. Definitely looking for more people. It's a free group, so it's private, but I have different freebies in there for stuff that I've created to help people get started. So anybody who wants to reach out to me, you can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram, or brycecluett.com is my website, which has access to my Man on Fire program. So definitely easy ways to contact us. And yeah, I'd love to have more men in my group for sure.
Get some Australians in there. Our Australian men, boy, oh boy, get them in there. Let's get them on fire. Come on, let's go.
Yeah, let's do it.
Perfect. Awesome. Yeah, and we'll have your links down in the description down below as well, Bryce.
Appreciate
And
it.
then what I'll be offering is I'll have my link to my video where I teach muscle testing. I'll teach how to create affirmations, the do's and the don'ts. And then also I created 2 free seminars, one for overcoming self-sabotage, and one for overcoming depression. So both of these are I've kind of like done presentations on them, and I hosted some Zoom calls. So they've been very effective at being really just kind of getting you like understand a lot of this information about like the subconscious mind and understand why we're doing the things that we're doing. Then I give you techniques and solutions at the end of the seminar. So I really highly recommend checking these out. They are free access on my website. And then yeah, just please reach out for help, guys. And I do offer the free Zoom calls as well, just as a consultation. If you guys want to be interested, just hop on a call and see what we can offer. But really, just reach out for help, because the most successful people I know in my life on the internet have all had mentors, have all had teachers, have all had coaches, whatever you want to call it, right? It's and that help could be through a book. That help could be through the person online, because when we learn from other people who have been where we are, we can advance. We can really skip a lot of the work. Obviously, we still have to do some of the work ourselves, but we can really, advance ourselves much faster than we would normally. Like I know if I didn't reach out for help to Paul Check and to Jason, I would probably still be drinking alcohol. I'd probably still be smoking marijuana, and I'd probably still be doing that every day after I get home from work, playing video games all day and wondering why is my life not getting better, right? And probably tell myself I wanted to do more, but not going anywhere. So ask for help. Really, it does make a difference.
Yeah. You'll feel mentally stronger. You'll feel physically stronger. You'll feel spiritually stronger. You'll feel emotionally stronger. You'll just be stronger, and you'll feel so much better for it. And just give yourself a hug and say thank you. It's so powerful, this work.
Great. Well, I think that wraps it up. I really appreciate everyone coming on to listen, everyone coming on to talk. It's been really a fantastic roundtable. Please give this, these videos or the podcast or whatever you're watching on a like, a subscribe. Please share it with other people. Give us a comment. We'd all be happy to reply to a comment that you may post, and reach out to us. All of our links are down in the description. So we're all here and available for you. And if you want help, but you might not think that one of us are the solution, I do on my podcast, I interview someone pretty much weekly who shares their self-sabotage story, and you may vibe with one of those people. So the help is out there. Don't let yourself sit there thinking that there is no solution, right? We're all able to overcome self-sabotage. It doesn't matter who we are, where we are, what we have experienced in life. We can all overcome self-sabotage. So
just on that quickly, jump on freedomfromselfsabotage.com. There's a whole heap of coaches on there, like so many. You'll see some familiar faces with us, but there's a heap of coaches on there. So we'll put that link in there too.
Yep. Awesome. Well, thank you guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
That was awesome.